In this episode, I'm going to discuss some chess improvement tips, tricks, and hacks for busy people. So stick around. All right, welcome to the Chess Angle. So in this episode, I'm going to be focusing on some chess improvement tips for busy people like you. Busy working people, you have jobs, you have families, but you love the game, and your study time is limited. And I'm going to share some things that have really worked for me and others in my years doing this. And productivity is really all about cutting out the middleman. And you're going to hear me say that a lot. Cutting out, trimming the fat and cutting out a lot of the noise and just getting right down to it. And learning the same thing with fewer steps. So I'm going to jump right in. The first thing is, and I talked about this in detail in episode 1, you want to play the same openings. For a detailed discussion of opening play at the amateur level, check out the very first episode, which incidentally is our most downloaded episode, the one called Chess Openings in the Amateur Player. I'm paraphrasing a little bit, but you get the idea. I talk about openings there in detail, and one of the things I say there, which I'll emphasize here, is you should play the same openings. Instead of experimenting, instead of playing something different every time you have the white pieces or black pieces, stick with the same opening repertoire because it'll save you study time, and it'll also familiarize you with the positions you're likely to face, so you'll have less time pressure. For example, as white, I only played the London system. That's my complete opening repertoire with the white pieces. A future episode, I'm going to deal exclusively with the London system. That's going to come up in the near future. And then with the black pieces, against e4, I always play the French defense. Against d4, I use the Nimzo and Queen's Indian as a complete defense to the d4 pawn. Just as an example, this way you're playing the same openings. It limits your study time. It limits the number of surprises you're going to see on the chessboard. Okay, the fewer openings you play, the less you have to know. It's that simple. If you try all these different openings, you're going to spend all your time dealing with that and all these uncertainties. So keep that consistent. Play the same openings. Very important. Second thing I recommend, and this is specifically for tournament chess, is to use an electronic scorekeeper. I use the Monroy device. It's pronounced Monroy. It's spelled Monroy. But there's other ones, this Ply Counter. I don't know too much about them because I've been using a Monroy for years. And the reason is that it cuts down your study time tremendously, because when you save the moves by hand, or if you record the moves by hand, I should say, when you put the game into your computer, into a chess program to study it, you then have to input the moves individually. Whereas if you record them electronically, it saves it as a file, a .pgn file, which is portable game notation, which, by the way, doesn't use a lot of memory at all. It saves it as a file, so that way you can upload it directly into your chess program, the whole game, with just a few clicks. Saves you a tremendous amount of time. I mean, if you're pressed for time, you can't put a price on it. Now, these electronic scorekeepers are expensive. So, if you're on a tight budget, it might be a problem. I mean, the Monroy that I use is over $300, but I use it every time I play in a tournament. I've used it for years. I'm getting some serious mileage out of it. So you can't put a price on that. Okay. I'm a fan of the old saying, you don't want to be penny wise and pound foolish. But the Monroy has saved me a tremendous amount of time because, like I said, I can upload the entire game in one shot and boom, just go right into studying it, which you can't do with a paper score sheet. The other thing is, with a paper score sheet, very often it's incorrect and there are mistakes, and now you have to waste precious time deciphering your messy score sheet and figuring out, well, did I play this move or this move? And if you missed a couple of moves, forget about it. You may never be able to reconstruct the game correctly. So it's something to think about. Number 3 is to thoroughly review your tournament games using a chess engine. Now, you may say, well, why is that kind of a hack? That's because I believe looking at your games in a chess engine is probably the most valuable study tool you can use, because you're really going to see where you went wrong. And especially if you follow my first rule that you're playing the same openings, you can kind of look for patterns where you're making mistakes. But review your games thoroughly with a chess engine. Look at all the ideas. If you have a question, well, what if I had done this? You should explore all of those things. Okay, because there might have been a move where you said, I played this, but I know I should have played this, right? You could swear on a stack that I should have played, knight f3, for example. And then you put it in the computer, it turns out knight f3 was a blunder and the move you played was actually better. That's why you need to put it through a chess engine. Okay, so like if you go over the game with your opponent in person, a lot of times you'll both be convinced, oh yeah, black should have played this, white should have played this. And then you put it through the engine, you realize you're completely wrong, because the engine's not going to lie. If there's, a tactical thing you missed or a mate, it's going to show up. Okay. And number 4, the number 4 chess improvement hack I'm listing, although these aren't in any particular order, is to check out the ChessBase online suite of tools. ChessBase, as some of you may know, it's a German company. They were founded like 1986. They provide chess software and a chess database. They created Fritz, the chess engine. But what I recommend is to use their online suite. Everything's in the cloud. I started doing this recently. It's fantastic. So I can access the Fritz chess engine, their famous ChessBase database, which I'll talk about in a second, and then they have a My Games cloud. And in addition, there's also puzzles and exercises and things like that. But for the engine, the database, and the games cloud, for those 3 things alone, I think the price is worth it. It's about like $65 a year, which is a steal. So let's talk about each of those. The Fritz chess engine is just that. It's a chess engine where it'll analyze your game. You can look at different lines. But as opposed to the download version, which involves a lot of steps, and if you get a new computer, this is in the cloud. It's completely online, so you can access it anywhere. It's fantastic. The second thing that I love about it, again, is their famous ChessBase database. It has millions of games in it. It has all the latest games. The ChessBase database, that's used by all the famous grandmasters that we know and love. Like everybody uses that. That's sort of the gold standard. And you can put in a position from one of your games, and it'll show you if there are any other games with that same position. You could see what was played. Or you could just look up a position that you want to learn more about. And the third thing, and this alone is worth the price for me, is the My Games cloud. You can upload all of your tournament games into a database that you have online in a cloud, so you can access it anywhere. And within the cloud, when you open up the game, it has the Fritz engine right there. So it's frictionless. I mean, this ChessBase online suite is fantastic, because in the past, I just had a separate chess program on my computer. I would have to download it on my laptop. It was very clunky. Okay, like I said, we want to cut out the middleman. So now I just go online to their website and boom, it's there. I mean, it's beautiful. And in addition, I use chess.com mostly for my like puzzles and tactical things, but the ChessBase online suite does include that as well. There's like a tactics trainer, things of that nature. But again, for the Fritz chess engine, for the database, and for the games cloud where you can store your games, for those 3 things alone, the online ChessBase suite is invaluable. I strongly suggest you check it out. It's been a huge, it's total game changer, no pun intended, almost life-changing as far as, my chess stuff. All right, so moving on. I guess you can tell that I like the ChessBase suite. Number 5, there's 2 more things in my list here. You want to look for .pgn, portable game notation files, for chess books that you like. So in other words, when you read a chess book, it's a very cumbersome and time-consuming process to break out a physical chessboard, set up the pieces, and, if the position changes, then you have to like start from scratch. That can get very messy. What exists now is there are people who put this together. They created PGN files for the positions in many chess books. So you buy a book you like, you get the PGM file, you put it into Fritz or one of the other programs that you use, and it has all the positions. So you can look at the book and follow the positions in the software. They're already there for you. Huge time saver. You can Google all this stuff and they'll show up. Like just Google PGN chess, chess books, PGN files, anything like that. One I saw is Easy4, the number 4 downloader. He has a whole bunch, but they're invaluable. So if you have a chess book that you like and you can look at the positions on the computer in a file rather than on a board, I mean, it's going to save you so much time. So that's something you might want to check out. And lastly, I've talked about this before. I think chess.com is excellent for their instructional material in general. Of course, you can play games on chess.com, but people forget that chess.com is also a valuable teaching resource. Their lessons and videos and tactical training exercises are fantastic, but where they really shine are the lessons. It's interactive chess lessons where they show a position and it's interactive. You make a move, it'll give you a hint, it'll let you know if it's wrong, it'll give written prose explaining what you need to do. Extremely valuable. So these are things that if you're a busy working professional, you have a lot of irons in the fire, you're wearing a lot of hats, your study time is limited, they can help. So I'll just review them real quick. It's 6 things that I'm recommending. First is that you play the same openings. Keep the same opening repertoire. It'll save you a lot of time. Second, use an electronic scorekeeper. I use them in WA. I know they're expensive. I understand that, but you can't put a price on being able to upload one of your tournament games without having to input the individual moves, and you can just go right to studying it. It doesn't matter. The game could be 100 moves long, and in a couple of seconds, the whole thing's loaded. It's a fantastic feature. Number 3, review your tournament games using a chess engine. That's the most valuable thing for your study. That's going to help you more than studying some obscure like knight and pawn endgame that you may never see. Okay. Number 4, I talked about this at length, the ChessBase online suite, where you have online access from any computer once you log in to their set of tools. You have their chess engine, their chess database, and all your games stored in a cloud that you can access and analyze from anywhere. And it's very easy to use. It's easy to edit. It's not clunky. Highly recommend it. Number 5, if there's a chess book that you want to read, see if there's a PGN file for all the positions in that book so that you can have them in your chess program already rather than having to use a physical board. And number 6, again, chess.com, the lessons and videos are fantastic. I think you can learn a lot from them, but the lessons especially. So I hope this helped. And again, we're about 13 minutes in, right? Because you're busy, right? This is a podcast for busy people. And this episode is for busy people who want to improve their game. So I hope these hacks helped. I use them myself. And as always, I really appreciate you listening, and I hope you win your next game. Have a great day.